At this time, I will now turn this webinar over to Jenna from the Department of Procurement to start this webinar.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Jonna Williams. I am the Assistant Procurement Officer with the Department of Procurement Services. And today I'm going to take you through procurement fundamentals, doing business with the city, and let you know about contracting with the Department of Procurement Services. Sorry. So the Department of Procurement Services is committed to communications, outreach, and keeping citizens informed of all of our bid opportunities, our programs, and innovations to help the vendor community with contracting. One of the things that we have on our website is our consolidated buying plan. This is a 15-month forecast, including our sister agencies such as the CTA, CPS, and the state. And it has what we expect that we'll be buying over a 15-month period. We encourage you to visit our website and then also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, and YouTube. We have a variety of workshops and educational materials that are available to the public, and all of our bid opportunities are also located on our website. In addition, we have resource guides available to the public, one of which is Procurement Fundamentals, which goes through contracting and getting contract opportunities with the city. We have a resource guide that goes over our bid incentives and our various programs, which we have to help vendors with contracting opportunities. We have a resource guide regarding certification to go through how to become certified with the city, as well as our MBE and compliance resource guide, which helps vendors, once you have a contract, understand what is required for the compliance of the contract. So for this workshop, our goals at a glance are an overview of our department, the laws governing the procurement process, procurement terms, types of procurement, certification, contract monitoring and compliance, programs and our bid incentives, as well as what's available on our website. So again, our department is the contracting authority for the goods and services for the city of Chicago. We are working to make sure that our procurement is open, it's fair, it's timely, and we want to make sure that we are transparent with our contracting opportunities. So we'll talk about the laws governing the procurement process. Everything we do in the Department of Procurement Services is governed by the Municipal Purchasing Act, as well as the state statute and municipal code. So we have the state code as well as the city municipal code, and the ordinances in these codes govern how we purchase materials. We'll go over some procurement terms. The first is a bid package. When we refer to a bid package, we're talking about the set of documents issued by the city to solicit bids for goods and services. Currently, all of our bid packages are provided electronically through our e-procurement system. We don't accept or take any paper bids since the pandemic, and all of our bid opportunities are now online, and vendors respond to bids online through our website. When we refer to an addendum, we're talking about a change to a bid package. So once we issue a bid, if there's any changes, we will issue an addenda, which is uploaded to our e-procurement website. And also anyone who is registered on our takeout list as looking at the bid solicitation will automatically be notified of any addendum. In addition, when you go to bid, you'll have to acknowledge and look at the addendum before you can actually bid. So you'll know if the solicitation has changed. Another term is a contract. The contract is the written agreement between the city and a vendor for the provision of goods and services. There are a number of forms of contracts. Once a contract is issued and awarded, any changes have to be done through an official amendment or modification. An amendment or a modification is a document that changes the contract, and it has to be changed formally through a modification or amendment. For construction, we call changes a change order. We'll talk about the types of procurement. We have small orders, competitive bids, job order contracts, which we call JOC, requests for proposals, RFPs, and requests for qualifications. For small orders, these are contracts or the procurement of goods where the estimated dollar value is less than or equal to $250,000. For all of the solicitations issued through the Department of Procurement Services, anything that we estimate to be over $10,000 will have MBE and WBE compliance required. Competitive bids are another type of procurement. These are formal bid solicitations that are estimated in value greater than $250,000. For all of our projects that are estimated to be greater than $250,000, we advertise in a local newspaper. Currently, we have a contract with the Chicago Tribune, and every day in the classified section, we have our new bid opportunities. In addition, all of our bidding opportunities can be found on the Department of Procurement Services website. We have a bid and bond room in City Hall. It's currently closed, but when it reopens, you can find our bid opportunities in City Hall in the bid and bond room. Typically, we issue bids for 30 days, meaning they're advertised and open for viewing and bidding for a 30-day period. Per the law, we have to advertise all bids for a minimum of 10 days. For construction projects, there may be a bid deposit required. That would be identified in the solicitation, but please know some bids require a deposit. For our competitive bids and bid opportunities, the Department of Procurement Services will conduct a pre-bid meeting. This may include a site inspection. Our pre-bid meetings usually are not mandatory, but please check to see if they are mandatory. If it's mandatory, it means you must attend the pre-bid meeting in order to submit a bid. We strongly encourage everyone to attend our pre-bid meetings, especially certified firms and subcontractors, because they're a great opportunity to network with the prime contractors who will be bidding on contracts. So, requirements for bidding, we ask that you carefully review the bid specification to understand what it's asking for. Prior to submitting your bid, all of our solicitations have an individual with the Department of Procurement Services who can be contacted if you have any questions, concerns, or need further clarification of the bid document. And typically, we provide an addendum that addresses questions and the answers that the city is providing to vendor questions. The pre-bid meeting may result in an addendum or clarification to change the bid document, but when you attend the pre-bid meeting, please understand nothing stated during the pre-bid meeting will change the solicitation. It's only changed through a addendum or clarification issued from the Department of Procurement Services. If we don't have a pre-bid meeting, please be sure to carefully review the bid specification and the documents and contact the Department of Procurement Services if you have any questions or need anything clarified. When you're submitting your bid, there will be a checklist to help you understand everything that must be included with the bid. Please fill out all required information and submit all required documents. If you don't submit all the required documents, your bid may be rejected. For competitive bids, there will be a bid execution page. In order to be awarded a contract, you must submit the bid execution page that's signed and notarized with your bid. Again, there may be a bid or a bond deposit. It will not exceed 10% of the contract amount, and it must be submitted in the proper form. We do not accept cash. Because our bids are electronic now, please be sure to submit them before the designated time and date. We understand that vendors may have some technical difficulties, and we have a help desk and a team to help you. However, once the bid closes, you will not be able to submit a bid. So please submit your documents early, just in case you run into some technical difficulties. Our bids are open Monday through Friday, except for city holidays. For competitive bids, the opening time is 11 a.m. Our bids are open and read aloud in our bid and bond room, and all of the bids are streamed on YouTube. If you go to YouTube and go to the Department of Procurement Services page and enter the spec number for the solicitation, you can view all of our bid openings. Once the bids open, our bid and bond room will tabulate the bids with the pricing each vendor has submitted, and that will be posted to DPS's website within 24 hours. The award process for a competitive bid is made by determining a bidder's responsiveness and responsibility for the award. Once we, at the Department of Procurement Services, have gone through the bid tab, we forward it to the user department requesting the services or goods, and the user department will provide a recommendation of award. Once we have a recommendation of award, we will what we call package the bids. When we are packaging the bid, we do various checks, such as a debt check. We cannot award a contract to any vendor that has debt owed to the city. We will do checks to ensure you're not debarred from any government agency. We ensure that you are registered and have an active certificate with the Illinois Secretary of State. And we also, for construction contracts, may need a performance and payment bond. All of our bids have insurance requirements, so please be sure to understand what is required for insurance. Typically, whatever is issued in the bid package is the requirement and will not change. And you must provide evidence of insurance before being awarded a contract. Once we have the contract package, it's routed through the city signature cycle and signed by the city comptroller, the chief procurement officer, and the mayor. And for competitive bids, we award to the lowest responsive and responsible bidder. So essentially, whoever provides the best price usually will win the contract. The next form of procurement we have are job order contracts. JOC is a firm, fixed price, competitively bid, indefinite quantity contract designed for infrastructure departments' construction programs. For JOC, we're looking at small to medium-sized projects. And JOC contracts are good for general contractors, and it's similar to a master task order contract in that you're awarded a contract, and then as we have various projects that come up in the city, we will issue these to you or to the vendor who holds the contract, and then you will be awarded small projects. For our JOC projects, we work through the Gordian Group, and there is a construction book with various tasks and pricing, and all the tasks are set up in the book. So for each project, you would go and fill out your proposal or costs based upon the construction book and the tasks that are in there. For bidding and awarding JOC contracts, vendors look at the construction book and you bid a factor on the pricing that is in the book. The next form of procurement I'll talk about are requests for proposals. RFPs is a method used to solicit proposals to implement new projects requiring professional services. We issue RFPs when we don't have city in-house technical experts or resources to implement the project or services. In the RFP, we'll define the project and our objectives and a general scope of services, but ultimately we're looking for vendors to provide proposals that will give us a detailed process to fulfill the services that we're asking for. Once proposals are submitted by vendors, we will form an evaluation committee of individuals that work for the city in various departments, and the proposals are evaluated based upon who can best provide the service. For RFPs, we look at price, but that's not the only factor. RFPs are awarded to the vendor who has the highest score after the evaluation process. Another form of procurement are requests for qualifications. An RFQ is a method used to solicit qualifications from companies who possess a high degree of technical expertise and knowledge in various areas. We will pre-qualify a group of vendors into a pool who will then respond to future task orders. So as projects come up, we will issue these to the pool of vendors, and then the vendors will provide a proposal. And it's a similar process to the RFP where the proposals are evaluated and the project will be ordered via a task order. For our architectural and engineering RFQs, we don't ask for cost proposals up front. Instead, once proposals have been evaluated and the city has selected a vendor, then we will ask you for your pricing and negotiate that usually as part of your master task order contract. Most commonly for A&E contracts, we're looking at design, engineering, project management, and various categories for consultants. It's important to note that for every vendor doing business with the city, vendors must provide an economic disclosure statement or an EDS. The EDS addresses the ownership of your company. It is online, and any owner that has more than a 7.5% interest will also have to submit an EDS. Again, the EDS is mandatory for contract award. So I'll briefly talk about our certification process. So the Department of Procurement Services looks to certify small firms in various areas. And our goal is to help small firms grow their business. And most of our contracts have goals or set-asides for certified firms. One certification is the MBE for minority-owned businesses. We have a WBE certification for women-owned businesses. There's a BEPD certification for enterprises owned by people with disabilities, as well as DBE certifications. It's a federal program for disadvantaged business enterprises. There's an AC DBE certification, and that's for firms working at our 2 airports for concessions. And we also have a VBE certification for veteran-owned businesses. So the basic eligibility requirements for all of our certifications is that the owner has to be have at least 51% ownership, and the firm must be controlled by qualifying minorities, women, veterans, etc. Again, the certifications are for small businesses, and the business must be independent of any larger company and be an active and viable business. So here we have the sections of the city municipal code that address certification. All of our certification program rules and documents can be found on the city's website, on the Department of Procurement Services website. In addition, the certification process is now online, so you can submit your certification electronically, your certification application electronically on the Department of Procurement Services website. Once you're certified and working on a active contract, you must perform what we call a commercially useful function. So, commercially useful function means that a certified firm performs a commercially useful function when it is responsible for the execution of a distinct element of the work on a contract, and the firm must carry out the work by actually performing the work itself, managing and supervising the team and the work performed, or you can fulfill the responsibilities as a joint venture. We do have a process for contractors to request a reduction or waiver of the WBE goals, MBE, WBE, or various certification goals on a project. The process is detailed in all of our specifications. And for instance, if we have a project and their goals and you don't believe you can fulfill the goals, you can ask for either a reduction of those goals, a waiver of those goals. However, you must show that you've made good faith efforts to meet the goals. One of the ways to show good faith efforts is working with our assist agencies, who are all outlined on DPS's website. We have a variety of assist agencies who work to help contractors with the certification requirements. Ultimately, a request for a waiver or reduction is submitted to our Chief Procurement Officer, who will make the determination if the goals can be reduced or waived. Talk about our contract monitoring and compliance team. So at DPS, we have a team, and they monitor the actual utilization of MBEs, WBEs, DBs, or any certified firm that are listed on the compliance plan for a contract. Our compliance team is working to ensure that any firm that is certified and listed on a compliance plan is actually utilized and paid timely. The compliance team also ensures for construction contracts that have Chicago residency ordinance requirements and/or equal employment opportunity commitments, that these are fulfilled by the prime contractors. So for our CRO, any contract that is estimated to be greater than $100,000 in value and is funded with city funding will have CRO requirements. CRO requirements are that 50% of the total work hours must be performed by actual residents of the city of Chicago, and 7.5% of the total work hours must be performed within the project area or by residents in the project area. Our equal employment opportunity commitments were developed to promote equal opportunities for minority and female personnel to work on construction projects. And again, the EEO requirements are on contracts that are estimated at greater than $100,000. Bidders are invited to propose the minority and female employee utilization. Once you have proposed it to the city, you must fulfill the goals that you have committed to. There are various ways to achieve compliance. Certified firms can be a prime contractor. Certified firms can joint venture with non-certified firms. Also, certified firms can subcontract on contracts, as well as purchasing materials that will be used for the contract from suppliers that are certified. There are reporting requirements for our contracts. Prime contractors are responsible for submitting monthly subcontractor payment certification forms, weekly certified payrolls, as well as waivers of lien. Now I'll talk about some of our programs and incentives. We have various programs that the Department of Procurement Services has initiated to help small firms win contracts and/or perform a portion of city contracts. We have the Small Business Initiative for construction, which is limited to small businesses. We have the Mid-Sized Business Initiative for construction. The Small Business Initiative and the Mid-Sized Business Initiative are for contracts between $1 million to $10 million. And again, they're restricted to small businesses. We have a non-construction mid-sized business program. We have a diversity credit program, which is if you have contracts in the private industry and utilize certified firms, you can receive credit for that for city contracts. For non-construction contracts, we have a target market program, which limits bidding to only firms that are certified. We have a mentor protege program. And ultimately, for our firms that are certified, we're looking to help you grow your firm and phase you out of the program. We have a variety of bid incentives. Several are listed here. Our bid incentives are used to artificially reduce your bid price for evaluation purposes only. And we're looking to help firms that are small, city-based, firms that are working with smaller firms, et cetera, gain opportunities to win contracts. So our incentives are submitted by bidders when you're bidding, and essentially it reduces your bid price only for evaluation purposes with the goal to help vendors win city contracts. We now have an executive order which requires business diversity reporting. So we're looking for all firms doing business with the city to report to us about their diversity programs or lack thereof of diversity programs. And this requirement is due on the first day of July every calendar year. PPS's website, again, has an abundance of materials and information. We list all of our awarded contracts and modifications. Vendors can see pricing and contracts that we have issued in the past, and it's good to look at pricing and previous contracts when you're bidding, so you can have a informed and better chance of understanding how to submit a low bid. We also have all the payments that we issue to contractors. If you're a subcontractor on a contract, you can see when the prime contractor has been paid and how much they were paid. We have our bid tabulations. So when bids open, you can see the pricing of everyone who submitted a bid. We have a weekly bid opportunity listing. But in addition to that, at any time, you can go to our website and see every opportunity available for bidding. Our MBWB directory is on our website. If you're looking to subcontract with a firm or work with a firm that's certified, you can find that on our website. All of our bid incentives and program rules are listed on our website, in addition to the regulations governing certification and contracting. We have workshops and trainings on our website, in addition to our YouTube page. And to close, a few points of advice when bidding on city contracts. Again, do your research. Look at current contracts that are out there and what the city is paying for RFPs and RFQs. If you're not asked for pricing up front, but instead ask for pricing once you have been notified you'll be awarded a contract, I recommend that you look at the previous contracts or current contracts and see what the city is paying. When you submit your pricing, we may ask you to negotiate down. However, we will never be able to give you more money than what you have submitted to the city. And attend pre-bid or pre-submittal meetings. They're great networking opportunities. And again, as you have questions or need clarification about anything the Department of Procurement Services has issued or is doing, please reach out to our team. We're here to answer questions and help. And with that, I can take any questions.
Please feel free to put your questions in the chat box.
So I see a question. It says, if you are certified DBE, Will becoming dually certified help or give you an advantage? I would say absolutely yes, it does. DBE certification is used for federally funded contracts. We issue a lot of work that is city funded, and DBE certifications aren't used for city funded projects. So anything that you're eligible for, I would recommend you become certified. For the city of Chicago, you can be certified with us or Cook County. All of the certifications from the city of Chicago are accepted by the state. So once you're certified with the city of Chicago, those certifications carry over to Cook County contracts as well as state contracts. Next question I see, is there a limit on how many contracts from the city a business can hold at one time? There is not a limit. However, firms need to understand exactly what we're asking for, how much work will be involved, and know your capacity. We have found in the past, for instance, I'll use landscaping contracts as an example. The city usually will divide the city into areas such as north, central, south. And if you're landscaping for the entire city of Chicago, your firm may not have the capacity. So it may be best to only go after one contract or accept one contract, depending on how much work you can take on. But there is no limit on how many contracts a firm can hold at one time. I see a question, what about suburbs of Chicago in Cook County? I'm not sure that I understand the question. The Department of Procurement Services, we contract for the city of Chicago, and we contract on behalf of our user departments in the city of Chicago. So our contract opportunities are for work in the city and with the city. To get certified, please visit the Department of Procurement Services webpage. When you go to DPS's website, there is a box which will have our contract equity office. You click right there. All of our rules, regulations, the certification application, it's there, and everything can be submitted online through the Department of Procurement Services website. Thank you. Any other questions?
Do you see the questions on the chat side?
Oh, my apologies. Oh, I'm sorry. I see one more here. Do contracts work for suburbs also, or is there a different site? So again, the city of Chicago, our contracting opportunities are for just the city of Chicago. The county, different municipalities will have their own contracting opportunities that you can find through their website. But the city of Chicago, we primarily do work in the city, not for the suburbs or work outside of the city of Chicago. I see a question, WBENC certified is qualified for WB set aside. So for the city of Chicago, the certification must be through the city of Chicago or Cook County. Only those two will be applicable for our contracts. So you have to be certified with either the city or Cook County. Can you notarize your documents if you're a notary? Yes. There's a question. I am a new MBE firm providing civil engineering, consulting, and construction management services. How do I go about getting work for these services? I would start by viewing DPS's buying plan, which is on our website. The buying plan projects all of our contracting opportunities for 15 months. So you can see when we expect to bid out work, what work is forthcoming. From there, please look at this Department of Procurement Services website for our current bid opportunities. And for a civil engineering or construction management firm, good contracting opportunities would be through our RFQ process, which is you're awarded a master task order contract and then become part of a vendor pool. And as we have projects, we'll issue projects to the vendor pool. For firms that are certified, again, I encourage you as we issue specifications and contracts for work within your area, please attend our pre-bid and or pre-submittal meetings. These are great opportunities to network with prime contractors, to meet the user department staff and city staff, and networking, I say, for certified firms. Because ultimately, it's good to get the subcontracting opportunities that are part of most of city contracts. I have a question. How and where can I see IT staffing services? Again, all of our contracts awarded by the City of Chicago are on DPS's webpage. You can search by contract number, specification number. You can put a description of the services there. So any contracts that we have awarded for IT staffing, please search on our website. Are there any more questions? There's a question. I am truck and auto repair. How can I register? I believe. I'm not sure what the question is, but I will direct you again to the City of Chicago's, Department of Procurement Services webpage. All of our bid opportunities are there. And essentially for contracts with the city, you have to bid. Is the bid review process open to the public? So bids are tabulated based upon the pricing that is submitted. We adjust for any bid incentives that may be submitted, and bids are awarded to the firm who has submitted the lowest price. The process essentially is ensuring that your firm is in good standing with the city, the state. You do not owe any debt to the city, and looking at who has submitted the best price. Our bid tabs are available to the public. And bid tabs, I mean the bid tabulations. Can a business still obtain grants or other funding from the City of Chicago outside of the general bidding process for contractors? I'm not sure about this question, but from the point of view of the Department of Procurement Services, our department is responsible for awarding contracts, modifying and amending contracts. We don't deal with payments, funding, grants, or any of that. That's all done through our user departments. And when you're bidding on contracts with the Department of Procurement Services, it's based upon a request we've received from our user departments. And again, for competitive bids, we're looking for who has submitted the best pricing to the city. For RFPs and RFQs, we're looking for the most qualified firm to provide the services. So our department is responsible for awarding and modifying and amending contracts. Just for clarification purposes, if we are a notary, we can notarize our own documents. Yes. Secondly, do you know if this applies to a PEA application as well? My apologies, I'm not sure what PEA is. Can you tell me what PEA stands for? Private employment agency. I am not sure about private employment agencies. This is not part of the work that we do with DPS. We, again, award city contracts per the request of our city user departments. Thank you. See. Okay. Are there union or prevailing wage requirements for city construction projects? Yes, there are. And essentially, you would have to look at each specification to understand what the requirements are. They are not across every single contract, but for some contracts, there are prevailing wage requirements and union requirements. Do I find prime vendors for IT staffing services? Do you have a list of prime contractor name on your website? Yes. When you go to the website, you will see that the contractor the contract is awarded to is there. And when you look at the contract documents, it's clearly stated. If you're doing a search for IT or any services, once you find a contract on there, you will see a specification number. I would take that number and also search by the specification. Sometimes for one spec, we may award multiple contracts. You can see every firm that holds a contract for that spec. So for certification for construction contracts, we currently have MBE set at 26%, WBE set at 6%, and VBE set at 1%. For non-construction contracts, we look at each contract or the requirements of the contract to establish what the goals will be. And we're looking at how many vendors are certified with the firm. Certified with the city, how many vendors possibly can provide services, and the goals are established based upon that. Generally speaking, we're at 26% MBE, 6% WBE, 1% VBE. Where are the bids to list jobs for the city located? Is this part of your scope? Jobs are also found on the City of Chicago's website, and it's through our Department of Human Resources. It's not with DPS, but it's through our Human Resources Department. I think
Do you see this one? Where are the bids to list jobs for the city located?
so. We don't list any jobs. Jobs are through human resources website. It's not through the procurement services. We list just contracting opportunities. Any other questions?
I don't see any more questions. Oh,
Oh,
I see one that just popped in.
okay, yes. Do retail suppliers need to wait
All right.
until a request for a project is posted? Yes. For all of our contracting with the city of Chicago, we do it through a bidding process. So you would have to wait until we post the opportunity on our website and then bid on it from there.
It that looks like it's it. I'm just
All
going
right.
through them. Nothing new. So any final words of encouragement for everyone that's trying to become a vendor for the city?
Um, again, please do your research. Ask questions. Everything we do through the Department of Procurement Services is open to the public, and we're here to answer questions, provide help. If there's something that you need, you can always submit a FOIA request. For competitive bids, I recommend that you look and understand what the city is currently paying for services so you can have an educated basis for providing your bid pricing. For all of our bids, RFPs, RFQs, we include a checklist of what is required for the submittal. And please be sure to provide whatever is required, the EDS, insurance, compliance plans, anything else that is asked of the project. Each project will have a checklist detailing what's required to submit with the bid submittal. And essentially, our first check is just ensuring that vendors have provided what we've asked for. Attend our pre-bid, pre-proposal conferences. I really like to stress for certified firms and small firms looking for subcontracting opportunities. It's a great way to network. In addition, the Department of Procurement Services hosts our annual procurement symposium and construction summit. And these are good opportunities to meet individuals from our sister agencies, as well as our city departments, and to network. I recommend for when submitting RFPs and RFQ proposals, when the city asks you for price, please look at what we're currently paying. I often see large firms will, for example, charge the city $600 an hour. Smaller firms will submit pricing for $100 per hour. If we're paying one firm $600 an hour, we'll pay you that as well. And whatever you submit will never be able to give you a better price, but often will ask you to negotiate down. So keep that in mind. We have workshops and training for vendors that are new and have never used our e-procurement system. There is a tutorial and how-to on DPS's website. In addition to a help desk, please utilize these and make sure that you submit your bid early. If there is a very large document or there's some glitch or error, once the bid due date or bid opening time has come, you have to have your bid in. Otherwise, you will not be able to bid on that opportunity. And I think that is the biggest point of clarification or advice that I have. On the first page, I have my email address, and I'll pull that up again. If you have questions, anything you need in the future, I'm here. And what I can answer or help with, I may be able to send you to the correct person.
And thank you for your presentation today. I hope all of our attendees were able to get the much needed information that they were looking for. This webinar will be posted. A recording of it will be available on our YouTube channel. So please go to youtube.com/Chicago BACP. To learn more about our upcoming webinars, please visit chicago.gov/BACP webinar. Again, that's chicago.gov/BACP webinar. Thank you again for attending and have a great weekend.
Thank you.
Mhm.